You
Now,
know what?
here's the
That's pretty
question.
radical.
No, what's radical is you saying that the president can just ignore the Constitution. That's what's radical, and it's anti-American.
Yes,
and that's
if
why the
there's
Constitution
people
is
who
under
cheated
threat.
the system-
That's why the Constitution is under threat. Is because
If
people
there's
like you
people
are
who
giving
have
the
cheated the
president
system-
pass to just violate laws because you want a king. You
If
don't want a
there's
president.
people
You
who
you don't like
cheated
the founding
system,
fathers.
yes.
If you load in.
Yeah, sorry about that. It didn't show on my thingy,
That's okay.
the request button.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
yeah.
are you pro Trump or against Trump? I can't really. The Constitution is under threat, but then you have Trump with a king hat.
Yeah. I think Donald Trump views himself as a king. I think it's a threat to the Constitution. Try and keep it a little vague so I can have people, be a little more open to opposing viewpoints. But yeah, I think Donald Trump is threatening the Constitution.
Yeah. What do you think about like blue states that we can't exercise our constitutional rights without asking the government, and they can still deny it? And especially talking about the Second Amendment.
What I need a specific case. Are you saying that like regulation is unconstitutional, or what are you saying?
Well, it is actually, because it's a right for you to open carry a pew pew. But then, let's say specifically California, I've tried to buy a pew pew over there. And let's say you want to get a rifle, it has to be under 10 bullets, and then it has to be lever action, no semi-automatic. Same goes for pistol. So they regulate you a lot, and then they tell you if you can or can't get one, depending on if you seem good. Normal states like Texas, Iowa, where I live right now, if you don't have if you can pass a background check, you can get whatever you want. And states like California restrict you a lot. I mean, that would be like restricting votes or who can vote. We already have the felons who can't vote, but then if, let's say you want to go and vote in a red state, and just because you're a Democrat, it would be like the government being like, well, not only do you have to present your ID, but then you have to jump through hoops so you can vote.
To be clear, I mean, we have case law on the Second Amendment. It's completely consistent with the Second Amendment to allow regulation on gun ownership. Even like, I think there's a pretty famous quote on it where it says like the right to bear arms is not unlimited. For instance, like civilians can't own a tank, or like felons don't have the same constitutional rights as
we can.
Normal people. So no, you can't.
No, we can own a tank. Who told you that? It's just expensive.
What I'm saying is it's not against the Constitution for a state to say you can't own a tank, because the right to bear arms is not unlimited. This is established in case law after case law, and Supreme Court case after Supreme Court case. If you want to fight the Supreme Court or the precedent that we've set, I think that the text of the Constitution is a little broad on whether or not the right to bear arms is unlimited. But
it's in the Constitution.
Correct. The right of the people to keep and bear arms. That doesn't mean that they can keep and bear any arm.
Well, I mean, if the government's already telling, like, if I can buy an AR-15 anywhere except California, and the one that I do get is action, not action lever. It's oh my God, I just told you.
So there would be
basically you have to pull the lever action rifle.
Sure. There would be a stronger case if the Constitution said that people have the right to keep and bear any arm. That would be fine. Or the people have the right to keep and bear AR-15s. That would be a stronger case. But the right for the people to keep and bear arms doesn't imply that the arms that they hold can be unlimited in power.
That makes no sense. If the government, well, it was, do you know what the Second Amendment was wrote for?
Yes.
Written for?
A well-regulated militia.
It was to go up against the government.
Correct.
So the government is limiting you on the pew-pews you can have. Meanwhile, they have better ones.
So the Second Amendment, I'm pretty sure, was written in order to preserve a well-regulated militia to each state, and each state does have a well-regulated militia.
That's a police.
It's the National Guard, yeah.
And they would, and who, so if, let's say Donald Trump sends the National Guard against the people of California, how would they protect themselves?
The pre maybe I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that the president doesn't have the right to deploy a state's national
Yes, they
guard.
do.
He has
Yes.
the right to deploy DC's national guard, but I'm pretty sure that you need congressional
No,
approval to deploy each state's national guard. Am I wrong?
not at all. Not, yeah, yeah.
No, he doesn't.
No, he does.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, he does.
Can the president deploy California's national?
Best president since Reagan, says April. You know what, April? I will put it to you this way. I've never liked any president except Trump. I didn't like Reagan, Bill Clinton, Bush,
Sure.
Bush Jr., Bush Sr., Obama, especially Obama. That's the one I hated the most. Just because of what he did with Operation Fast and Furious and what he did to Mexico. I'm
Yeah, so
Mexican.
the president
So that
cannot
affected me
the
directly.
president cannot just deploy the national guard because he wants to.
He has to make up a reason, right?
Well, there has to be a justifiable reason, yes.
He has to make up a reason. Just like,
Yes, but
so
that
check this out.
reason is subject to review. He can't just deploy the National Guard and then that's what it
So,
is
so
to go after
check
California.
this out. Hear me out. Hear
And
me
also,
out this way.
also
Hear
just
me
to be
out this way.
clear, well, real quick, just to be clear, all of the gun regulation in California has been upheld in the Supreme Court. It's been challenged. None of what Donald Trump is saying is clear or is permissible in the Constitution. No court has upheld the ability for instance, to denaturalize people who are born here and who are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. No Supreme Court has ever
Let's go
given
one by
Donald
one.
Trump
Let's
the
go with
right
that one.
to. Okay, yeah, sure.
Let's go with that one.
Hmm.
I'm Mexican. I know specifically about this. I was raised in South Texas. You
Okay.
know what parteras are?
Nope.
So it's basically women who cross the border,
Hmm.
have kids over here,
Mhm.
and then go back to go back to Mexico. And
Okay.
I'll and so these people, I don't know if you knew. So now they have dual citizenship, right?
The
These are the same
child
people.
would.
What?
The child, not the mother.
Yes, the child. So these people turn 18. Who do you think that the cartel uses in order to get the pew pews over the border?
So just to be clear, are you aware of the language of the 14th Amendment?
Yeah.
All persons
Yeah, I
born or
haven't read it in a
naturalized,
while.
all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state in which they reside. So denaturalizing the people who are born here and subject to the jurisdiction of the United States would be against the 14th Amendment, correct?
Yeah, but no, not really. Do you not think they
Wait,
cheat?
okay.
So
I just
so
verbatim,
that
well, real quick, I just verbatim read to you the part in the Constitution that says if you're born here and you are subject to the jurisdiction of here, you are a citizen. And you just said that that doesn't say that if you're born here and subject to the
well,
jurisdiction makes
just
you a
like the
citizen.
Second Amendment. Just
No,
like
it's
the
not
Second
just like the
Amendment.
Second Amendment.
Yes, it is.
No,
So
because
if
this
there's
is
people,
specific parameters on what makes you a naturalized citizen. If you meet both of those criteria, then you are a naturalized citizen. It's nothing like the Second Amendment.
no, it is though, because any citizen should be able to hold a weapon if the government has the ability to have it. And so,
Okay,
just
that's
like
not written in the
so, there's
Constitution.
ways
I
to
don't know if you.
cheat.
I don't know if you're aware of this. That's not written in the Constitution.
You have the right to bear arms,
Correct.
right? So,
Yes. So don't add language onto that. You are allowed to bear arms in every single state. You are allowed to do that.
no, you're not.
You
No, you're
absolutely
not.
are. Can you not get a
No,
pistol in
you're not.
California?
It's really, really hard. Well, not that it's hard. It's almost impossible. It takes 45 days for you just to get approved to go purchase one.
Okay. Are background checks unconstitutional?
Not really. That's the only way that you can check who's a felon and who isn't.
Okay.
I get a
Exactly.
background
So
check in
that's
Iowa.
that's
It
the
takes a
thing.
day though. A
Exactly.
background check takes a day. I can get it in Iowa in 30 minutes.
A wait
All I
time
do
for
is,
a wait time for a background check does not make the laws of a state unconstitutional.
oh well, I guess you didn't see the lady who was being hunted down by her boyfriend, and she went and she went and tried to get a pew pew, And well, she had the waiting period, unfortunately, since she was in California, to defend herself against a boyfriend that
So
ultimately offed her.
just to be clear, that's bad. But what we're arguing is if a state law is unconstitutional. Okay, we can argue if it's bad or not. That's a separate conversation. What I'm arguing is that those laws are not unconstitutional. That in every state you have the right to bear arms. That is just true. Now, because Donald Trump tried to file this executive order, he tried to denaturalize people who are explicitly naturalized in the Constitution.
Yes, who cheated their way in here? Yes,
No,
they
who
should.
are explicitly made citizens under the 14th Amendment. Now, if you want to
Yes,
say that
who
the
cheated
14th
their way in
Amendment,
here?
if you want to
Yes.
say that the Constitution is bad, okay, that's why I say the Constitution is under threat, because half of the country does think that the Constitution is bad and that the president can just tell it to fuck off if he doesn't like it.
What do you mean? I didn't get it.
Because you're saying that
I didn't hear you. It cut off.
the people who are made citizens under the 14th Amendment are citizens under the 14th Amendment. Donald Trump trying to get rid of that, but you think that's good. Okay, that's
It is.
why I say that the Constitution is under threat, because people on the right side of the aisle think it's okay for the president to just tell the Constitution to fuck off because they think it's bad.
Okay, well, again, who do you think is purchasing the pew pews and taking them to Mexico?
If you're going to say naturalized citizens, that's fine. That's
No,
obviously
it's not
bad.
naturalized. It's born citizens, and
okay.
it's 60% of them that have dual citizenship that were just born here, took to Mexico from the parteras because it's basically a job. Did you not
Okay.
know that like El Chapo's daughters are U.S. citizens as well?
Do you think that the president has the authority to get rid of an amendment?
To get rid of an amendment from people who cheated it? Yes. Like if I go buy my pew pew
Okay,
with false information,
stop. Do you think the president has the ability to just get rid of an amendment?
not get rid of it, but if someone
To contradict
see
it.
if I lied in my citizenship test, right? It would get revoked. I'm a
You didn't,
naturalized citizen.
but these people are born in the United States and are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States
Yes.
as laid out in the 14th Amendment.
Yes.
So they are legal
El
citizens.
Chapo's daughters. Do you know who
Okay,
El Chapo is?
you realize that what you're laying out right now
Hold on,
of
hold
the
on.
president just
Do you
ignoring
know
the
who El
no,
Chapo is?
stop. This is my life. What you're laying out right now of the president just ignoring something in the Constitution because he doesn't like it is the same rationale for them to ignore the Second Amendment. You're saying that
They're doing
they
it
can
already
ignore
in California.
they could ignore the text of the 14th Amendment because they don't like a specific thing that is root of it. That gives them the same exact reason to take away all of your guns.
Okay. Do you know who El Chapo is?
Do you acknowledge what I just said?
Hold on.
Yes, I know who El
need-
Chapo
because
is. I know who El Chapo
Do
is.
you know that his two daughters
It
are
does-
born
it-
here in the
it's-
United
it's
States?
irrelevant. It's
and they
irrelevant. We're
have
talking about
American-
constitutional law. It's
very
irrelevant.
relevant.
It's irrelevant. We're talking about
So
constitutional
where
law.
in the Constitution does it say that illegal foreigners who come into this country, especially who are threats to this
Hey,
country, are
guess what?
supposed to get
Nowhere, buddy.
citizenship from this country?
Nowhere. The people, the
Do you
mothers
think that
coming
we
in.
should not
The mothers
denaturalize?
coming in. No, we shouldn't denaturalize the children because it's outlined in the Constitution, bud.
And those are the people who take the pew-pews to Mexico.
So you're not saying that Donald Trump isn't a threat to the Constitution. You're just saying he is a threat to the Constitution, but the Constitution sucks.
No, what I'm saying
Yes,
is that
because you're saying that the president can
illegal
just ignore the
foreigners-
Constitution.
illegal foreigners,
You're saying that the
Right.
president can just ignore the Constitution right now.
illegal foreigners, especially who are T's, should not be able to just get citizenship for no reason.
Okay. Can Donald Trump just denaturalize these people even though they are naturalized within the 14th Amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
Should be.
So why shouldn't
Should
he be able to violate all of the other 26 amendments?
Well, because I just gave you a specific case, right, to where there's a person who's a T.
You realize that law
that
means
his
nothing.
kids were born.
Law
here.
means nothing when you start making exceptions like that. If Donald Trump can violate the 14th Amendment, he can violate the 13th, 12th, 11th, 2nd, 1st, all of them. An amendment, the Constitution means nothing if we do not enforce it, period. If something is outlined in the Constitution and the president just doesn't like it, so he doesn't follow it, he can do the same exact thing for every other amendment.
Once again, we
Once
have
again, you're just
people
gonna walk
that
off
are
of that.
T's. These are people that are T's that cheated their way into the system. I don't know how, but his daughters were born here, and we should just accept them.
That's outlined in the Constitution. Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I mean,
Okay.
that's
Now,
that.
now
You know what?
here's the
That's pretty
question.
radical.
No, what's radical is you saying that the president can just ignore the Constitution. That's what's radical, and it's anti-American.
Yes,
That's
if
why the
there's
Constitution
people
is
who
under
cheated
threat.
the system-
That's why the Constitution is under threat. Is because
If
people
there's
like you
people
are
who have
giving the
cheated the
president
system-
pass to just violate laws because you want a king. You
If
don't want a
there's
president.
people
You
who
you don't like
cheated
the
the
founding
system,
fathers.
yes.
It's fine. You don't like the country. You don't like the founding fathers. You don't like
Yes, if
you
there's
don't like
people who cheated
you
the
don't like
system,
democracy.
yes.
It's fine. You just don't like
No,
rule
I
of
don't
law.
like democracy. Nowhere in the Constitution is the word democracy because it
Can you
isn't.
define what a democracy is?
Yes, it's a democracy is basically who votes for the representatives. We're a constitutional
Oh wait, hold on.
democracy,
Do
which
we
is
not
totally
vote for
different.
representatives?
We vote for representatives, so we
Oh,
don't
okay, so
vote
we're a
direct. Like
democracy. I'm
Mexico
glad
is a
we agree.
complete
I'm glad we
No,
agree.
it isn't.
You don't,
It's
listen.
a
I just need you.
constitutional
I just
democracy.
need you.
We vote for
oh, okay. Sorry, it's a
representatives.
constitutional democracy. You're not even getting your terms right.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Do you know what's in the term
is.
constitutional democracy?
Yes.
Democracy.
It's not a direct democracy like you would like.
I didn't
it's not
say
the
direct
majority
democracy.
who wins.
Did I ever say direct democracy?
No, you said
Oh,
democracy.
okay, interesting.
That
And
leaves
you
out the
agree
other
that it's a
term.
democracy. We agree. So now the
No,
question is
they're
why
not
do you think
the
that the
same thing.
president could just
Mexico's a
ignore the law?
democracy.
Why do you think that the president can
Mexico's a
just ignore the
democracy.
law? Why do you think that the president could just ignore
Because
the
if
law?
we have T's, right? Well, if we have T's like the subject that I just put in front of you,
Do you agree that
and
if the president violates one law, that gives him reason to violate another law, because the law loses its
what law is he violating if we're getting rid
the
of T's and people who
14th
cheated the system?
Amendment, the 14th Amendment. You already
That
agreed that
people
he's
cheated
violating
the
the 14th
system to
Amendment.
get.
You already violated. You
that
already
people
agreed that
cheated
he's
the
violating the
system.
14th Amendment.
That people cheated the system to
Okay.
get.
Do
So
you
there's
agree
women
that if you
who pay money.
violate the Constitution, it nullifies the Constitution? Do you agree?
Well, if you try to get citizenship through
Are you ever
unlawful
going
means,
to
like you
are you
coming
ever going
over
to answer a
illegally-
question?
Yeah.
Do you
Which
ever
one?
plan on answering a question? If you violate the 14th Amendment, that gives him reason to violate the rest of the amendments, right?
It isn't a violation because
It is a
we're not
violation.
even counting. No, it isn't. These
All
are T's.
persons born
So El
or
Chapo's
naturalized,
daughters-
all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state in which they reside.
So what do you think about women that cross the border
just
pregnant
walk off
and then
of that.
just
Yeah,
have the
that's fine.
kids here?
It's protected in the
because,
14th Amendment. I don't know what to tell you. Do you think that it's okay for the president to just walk off of enforcing the Constitution?
Yes. For people that cheated the system,
Okay.
yes.
You
of
realize
course.
that the president, when he's sworn in, swears on the Bible that he will uphold the Constitution, right? So he's just he's like lying under oath at that point, right?
No, well, I mean, you got to think about it this way.
Are
have
you
to
aware
protect
that the
American
14th
citizens
Are
over
you aware that the
people who
14th
cheat.
Amendment is in the Constitution?
I really don't care about El Chapo's daughters and him not getting them getting their citizenship revoked. To be
Okay.
honest,
This is why the prompt says what it is. The Constitution is literally under threat. It's literally saying like, "Oh yeah, he's violating the Constitution. I just don't care." This is why I say the Constitution is under threat.